Carson, can I start you with a fun one?
Yeah, sure, let's do it.
What was the first NFL jersey you had as a kid?
First NFL jersey, I think it was a Tom Brady jersey. That makes sense, yeah, Tom Brady. I was a big Tom Brady fan growing up.
And what's the longest play call that you could say from memory?
Longest play call I could say from memory. Gosh, you're putting me on the spot here.
It's okay if you don't have one.
No, I'll come up with one on the fly. It'd be a lot of motion, some type of play action probably. So, be like, let's go Z gas to bunch right, black woody F cross, X take, and then it'd be can with some other play. But off the top of my head, that's what I got.
Carson, what did you learn from Todd Morgan at Georgia, and then have you kind of talked to him and bringing that in here?
Yeah, so I had Coach Monk in my first 3 years at Georgia, and I love him personally. I've actually known him since I was 7 or 8 years old. I played baseball with his son whenever he was the wide receiver coach of the Jags, so that's cool. I've been able to have a really good relationship with him over the years, and obviously at Georgia, he taught me a lot of what I know. So again, he's an amazing coach. I had the opportunity to talk with him a little bit the other day when I was done with all my interviews. We walked and chatted for a little bit. So I love Coach Monk. He's an awesome coach and a great guy.
Okay, what made Shannon's offense such a good fit for you last year?
Coach Dawson's offense is, honestly, there's a lot of freedom within it, and I really enjoyed that, and I really liked it. He did a great job of kind of just letting me be free out there and making certain decisions. So whether that's I see a certain coverage, change the play, or go up to the line and I see something that he would ride with me. You know, he trusted me, and I trusted him. So it goes both ways, and our relationship that we built honestly was amazing. And by the end of the season, we were really clicking together, and I had full trust in him and what we were able to do.
Carson, going off that, you talked about at Miami kind of falling in love with football again. Kind of can you take us through what happened maybe at Georgia? Is there a specific instance where you kind of didn't have that same feeling anymore?
Yeah, I don't think it was a falling in love again. I've always loved football, and again, it was more of coming back from an injury, being able to come out of that and have the opportunity to play football again. I don't think it was ever a matter of whether I love football or not. I mean, I've been doing this since I was 5 years old. It's a game that I've loved and cherished my whole entire life, essentially, since at least what I remember. So, again, it was more about coming back from the injury, being able to go to the rehab, having great teammates around me to help me push through that and get through that, and then ultimately having the opportunity to play again after kind of getting that taken away from me.
Carson, when you have the process from that last game, what's been going on the past couple of weeks as you get ready now for interviews? What have you been up to?
Yeah, so, I think it was, we played on a Monday. I think 3 days after, it was straight to Jacksonville and straight to training. There's no break, no nothing. Again, it was straight to working out, straight to training, straight to throwing. And, obviously it's an amazing thing that we played so late in the season, but that's the one negative, of playing so deep into the season is obviously the training for the next level for a lot of these guys that, were on both of the teams involved. So.
Why has Miami become this hotbed for quarterbacks? You, Cam, Darian, and just how has Miami helped you become a better quarterback?
Yeah, of course. First and foremost, it's coaching, right? Coach Cristobal is an outstanding coach, an offensive line guy. So, again, to have success at quarterback, you got to have a lot of guys around you, right? You're only one piece of the puzzle. This past year, had an amazing offensive line, great skill players around me, running back, tight end, wide receivers. And that's obviously going to help you have success at quarterback. But along with that goes Coach Dawson, right? And he makes everything run. The way that he is able to feel the flow of a game, the different play calls and attacking defenses in different ways, he definitely helps, his quarterbacks have a lot of success. He helped me have a lot of success. And I think the other thing, you talk about the other guys, Cam, Darian, the talent that, they have, that speaks for themselves. So again, Cam's obviously super talented, and then wishing Darian the best of success this next year.
What did you take away from your meeting with Mike McCarthy?
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
What did you take away from your meeting with Mike McCarthy?
What did I take away? He's super, super smart. Really, really smart coach. That meeting, it was a lot of ball talk for the most part. There's a couple questions about obviously just figuring out who I am, wanting to know who I am, but it was a lot of ball talk, and I really enjoyed that meeting. It was really me and him going back and forth the whole time, just talking football, which is what I love to do.
Carson,
what are you most proud of in your collegiate career?
What am I most proud of? I think coming back from the surgery is something that I'm most proud of. Just the whole rehab process. it was a really hard journey, and again, I couldn't have done it without all the guys at Miami, from the athletic staff, the training staff, the coaches, the teammates around me, pushing me through that. It's obviously a really hard thing for me mentally and physically, not knowing if I was ever going to be able to have that opportunity to play quarterback at the level that I had. So again, getting through that is something that I think I'm most proud of.
Carson, Mark Fletcher had a crazy playoff run. Just when did you notice that he was going to be just the anchor of the offense in the playoffs?
Shoot, from day one. Man, Mark Fletcher's one of my guys from the very jump. We were right across from each other in the locker room, so I was able to build a really good relationship with him, and someone that I got really close with. But if you see the way that he works, the way that he carries himself, he deserves all the success that he's had. And obviously, he's a hell of a player, and he's so tough, man. If there's one thing that I could say about him, it's his toughness, And I mean, you see the runs that he has, bowling people over like a bowling ball, running 25 yards down the field, stiff arming someone the whole way down. So again, he's an unbelievable talent, even a more unbelievable person.
You running into your former dogs, Oscar or Monroe? You seen them in the hallways here?
Oh yeah. I've been able to see everybody. It's been a cool little reunion. Obviously, I mean, I spent a lot of time with those guys in the locker room, during games, in training. So again, those are relationships that'll last a lifetime. But it's been cool to get to see all those guys again.
Nothing but love.
Carson, in the team meetings, have you noticed kind of a theme of what NFL teams are looking for you to answer, what questions they may have about your game?
Not really. All of them are very different. It's been a really cool experience, obviously, to get to go into, these different meetings with different teams and talk to all these coaches and GMs and, figure out, kind of what's going on in each and every meeting. Everyone's different. Some coaches talk ball, some coaches, want to ask more questions and things of that sort to figure out who I am, as a person. But, it's been a really cool experience, and obviously looking forward to, finishing out this week.
What would it be like to play with Coach Mark?
Oh, I mean, that would obviously be super cool. For me, any team that's going to draft me, I'm super grateful for the opportunity. But, if Coach Monken were to, be my coach again, obviously I really enjoyed him being my coach at the University of Georgia and what I was able to learn from him there. So, I'd be super stoked.
Carson, as you look back at your first 4 years of your career when you were at Georgia, what kind of feelings as you look back at the organization from Georgia that you feel you take on to the NFL?
Yeah, I was an 18-year-old kid coming out of high school. Thought I knew everything. Wanted to play early, like every high school kid does. And I was clearly wrong. I knew nothing. I was a child, and I'm super grateful for Coach Smart and what he was able to instill in me, and obviously the teams that I was a part of. Like some of the guys that I got to play with. I mean, you go look at the NFL, and these rosters are full of guys from those teams from 2020 to 2024. So again, the discipline, the structure, the resiliency, the toughness that Coach Smart was able to instill in me, personally, is something that I'll take on the rest of my life.
You talk about the end of your Georgia career and the injury, going to Miami, all that stuff. That you think maybe is a misconception, or that you want people to know now that you're ready to go to the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I feel like people take that a little bit the wrong way. It was more of a thing. You look at the beginning of the 2024 season going into it. I mean, nobody envisioned that season to go that way. Starting with myself, I didn't know I was going to get injured at the end of the season. I didn't know that I was going to end up coming back to college for another year. That was never the plan originally, right? So, when the injury happened, I was still going to go to the NFL. I had declared for the draft. I was going to go through the process, and from that point on, I'm gone. So it's like, okay, Gunner's next up. Like that's the thing. It was his turn, to be the quarterback at the University of Georgia. So when I decided to not go to the NFL, come back, it was I'm going to go somewhere else. It kind of, that's how it all worked out. There was no bad blood. I'm really never sure where that came from. I love the University of Georgia. I love Coach Smart, Coach Bobo, Coach Monken, all the other coaches that I was able to have there, and all my teammates there as well that, I'm still really, really good friends with today. So there's no bad blood there, and, it kind of just how everything worked out and how it happened.
Carson, have you met with America's team? Have you met with America's team?
No, sir, I have not.
No.
Carson, talk to me.
Can you say that again? Yes. I had a formal with the Dolphins, and honestly, I thought it went really well. Sometimes I think it's kind of hard to read how the interviews go because, you got 20 guys sitting around you, nailing you with questions over and over again, and, obviously I just want to be myself in those interviews, let them know who I am, what I stand for, and what I can bring to the table. But, personally, I felt like it went well, but I have honestly no idea.
Carson,
How do you engage with the Steelers
go, and how is it talking with Mike McCarthy and just talking about ball?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought the interview went well. Again, it's hard to read sometimes. They're all professionals there. But again, talking to Coach McCarthy, it was honestly really cool. Obviously he's had an amazing career as a coach, and just talking to him, you can tell how smart he is, just from a football side and a football standpoint. So it was a really cool opportunity. Obviously, all of these meetings, but that one for sure was really, really cool.
Carson, when you look at the NFL, who would you say are some quarterbacks, that you study their film, that you are really, impressed with? And have you met with the Bengals?
Have not met with the Bengals, but I'd say Matthew Stafford is the one that, obviously he was a Georgia guy, so when I was at Georgia, he was always a guy that I would watch and that I've continued to watch. Again, the talent, you look at the arm talent, the things he's able to do, it's insane. It's unbelievable. And then also having the success that he's had over just such a long period of time and the consistency. I don't think people understand how amazing that is to be able to do that over such a long period of time. So that's one of my favorites to watch and study.
And something else.
To begin with, the journey that you had, coming back, having the success that you did in Miami, and just now being here, getting ready for the next level.
Yeah, it's been a super cool journey. Obviously, it feels like I was in college forever, but again, everybody's path is different, and I'm truly blessed and grateful that my path went the way it did. And it's a lot easier to say that looking back at it now, but when you're in the middle of a grind of a season, or you're in the middle of the rehab, and I can't throw a football for 4 months, and you don't know what your future is going to look like, to get to this point and to have been able to battle through that and fight through that, and have the success on some of these great teams that I've been a part of. It's been a really cool experience, and obviously I'm super blessed and grateful to be able to stand in front of you today.
Carson, when was the first time you knew Mally was different, and just how do you see his career continuing to develop?
Yeah, the first practice I watched, I got there in January, and I wasn't able to practice, so I was sitting there watching during spring, and I mean, the things that he was doing, it was just unbelievable, just so smooth. I mean, I don't even need to go through all the attributes that he has. I think everybody's seen it and knows at this point, but what really stood out to me was his intelligence and the game within the game, how much he understands that, right? The spatial awareness, understanding coverage, things of that sort. And me and him would just watch film together, and honestly, it pushed me to keep getting better and better and continue to work harder, because you go look at him, he's in the facility first, he's there last. So again, he's going to be unbelievable. I mean, everybody's been able to see that, and I think we all know what he's going to be able to do with the rest of his career.
Mario Cristobal said that when you came to Miami, you learned valuable lessons at Georgia. Obviously, you were at the front end of this whole NIL dynamic. What would you tell people about what you learned going through all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. My time at Georgia was honestly such a growth period of my life. And what Coach Mar was able to instill, not only in me, but the rest of our team, is unbelievable. And just the things that we did there, right? The skull sessions, I'm sure you guys have heard of, the connection that we built as a team. It's something that was never fake, something that was very real in my eyes, and I think my teammates' eyes as well. But the discipline and the structure that you learn just from being in that program, and day in and day out, I mean, you're working your tail off. Like, it's not easy there, and people understand that. So again, I'm super grateful for Coach Smart, and then obviously going over to Miami and what I was able to learn under Coach Cristobal, another intense competitor, fierce competitor, who's really good, when it comes to the game of football as well. So again, I got to play under really two great coaches, and I'm super grateful for that.
Carson, back and forth between them at the Spurrier roast, what was your reaction to that?
Yeah, so one of my boys had walked up to me. He's like, "Dude, you got to see this. Like, this is hilarious." So he showed me it. I mean, it had me rolling laughing. Those two were going back and forth. I mean, all jokes, all fun, but I thought it was pretty funny.
Carson, is it true that you know every Rod Wave song?
I don't know about everyone, but I'd say about 85-90% for
You
sure.
know the aux in the locker room?
If I did, I don't think anybody would complain.
Carson, did you have a formal with the Browns yet?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Carson, it seems like yesterday I was watching you transfer from Providence to Mandarin. Do you still keep in touch with Pop, and if so, has he given you any pointers about this process?
It's every now and then. If we're back at the school, we're talking to each other. Obviously, we've been in crazy different career paths and whatnot. I haven't talked to him in a minute. So, but when I see him, it's always good times.
Do you still keep in touch with Coach Judon?
No, I haven't talked to him in forever. So.
Are you planning to throw and do everything here? Or
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm throwing.
Carson, you looked at New York Jets, and if so, how did that meeting go?
Yes, that was actually my first formal that I had. So, I amped up, got a little coffee in me, walked in there. Again, I keep saying this. It's hard to get a read on whether or not, they're all straight-faced, super serious, intense. But for me, I thought it went well. Answer the questions, go in there, try to be myself, try to let them know who I am, what I can bring to the table. But yeah, all these interviews have been a really cool experience.
Sorry,
Sorry, can you say that again? Yes, sir. Honestly, I really loved the coaching staff. I thought they were really, really cool, and just what we were able to talk about from a football standpoint, you could tell the intelligence and the ball knowledge behind them. So I thought it was a really cool experience.